Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. Today we have back with us our regular Greg Mannarino. Gregory Mannarino has a big website, GregoryMannarino.com, also a YouTube channel. I think you got a couple of million views on that channel, don't you, Greg? Welcome to USAWatchdog.com.
Thank you, Greg Hunter. It's great to be here.
What do you have, a couple of million views or 5 million views?
No.
About a million, more than a million.
About 1,000,005.
Oh, 1,000,005. So, very popular channel. You haven't been doing it that long. Anyway, I wanted to, you put out reports just about daily. I mean, you missed a couple of days here and there, but, nobody's perfect. But I know we were talking about oil and your views on oil. Right now, everybody thinks, wow, the little run-up we had in oil is over. Prices are, down. Is that going to last, Greg Mannarino? Oil prices going to continue to stay cheap?
No, absolutely not. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Oil is black gold. And I think the real question always goes back to the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. dollar is going to continue to fall. It is in a terminal phase, and it's going to get much, much worse. We understand that now the Federal Reserve is going to initiate QE4. Now, I think people don't really grasp how serious this is, Greg. People hear about this QE3, which is mortgage-backed securities. Now, being that Operation Twist is ending at the end of the year, they have to go out and buy bonds. Forget about mortgage-backed securities. They have to buy Treasury bonds. If they don't do this, it's over. Overnight, the system collapses. The Federal Reserve is now the lender of last resort.
To America.
And it's over. And you can see the desperation here. Policymakers, you have President Obama with his poker face. And believe me, they're sweating behind those suits regarding the fiscal cliff, regarding the debt issues, which they cannot possibly fix because the Federal Reserve is going to print into oblivion. Why? Because cash is going out of style. That's a fact.
Cash is going out of style. Now, Operation Twist, just so for the people who don't know, is that's where they took the short-term treasuries and turned them into long-term treasuries at $45 billion a month. And you're saying that $45 billion a month, they're going to keep printing that $45 billion a month along with that $40 billion. So we're going to have $85 billion a month, or we've had that anyway. But now we're going to have $85 billion a month of pure QE. One of the things that backs up your claim about they're going to be buying all the treasuries, a story that was on Bloomberg television that they put out, but they spun it like, there's going to be, a short supply of treasuries because the Fed is buying 90%. The Fed's buying in the official news, mainstream media, and now they're buying 90% of treasuries. Is that what you're talking about? 90% of the U.S. debt?
Yes, they're going to continue to do that. And what does that mean? That's going to be added to the sovereign debt, which we all owe. It's incredible, Greg, what's going on. It's absolutely off the charts. And I believe sincerely, if we continue on this trajectory that we are currently on, we could be looking at a massive collapse in a matter of months. Why? Because investor confidence is being shaken here. I'm an investor, you know that. And, I sit back here and I'm looking for ways to capitalize on that across the board. Now, what's the easiest way? Something we always talk about is owning hard assets, real things. But there's other ways as well, too. But what we need to keep in mind here is the situation is so dire that without the Federal Reserve now stepping in at the end of this sterilized bond buying purchase program, which is this bond swaps QE twist, it's over. They have to get in there, something I've been going over for months. As a matter of fact, I've been talking about this since way before they started QE3. I think when they started Operation Twist, I was like, this isn't going to work. And when this ends, they're going to have to buy Treasury bonds to keep the Ponzi scheme going. It's a problem that cannot be fixed, Greg, and nothing they do now, nothing can change the trajectory that we are on, which is the mother of them all, collapses of the financial system on a global level. That's where we're going. I'm going to
play devil's advocate here. Let's just say that they come in and say, you know what, the Federal Reserve doesn't buy the additional $45 billion a month. And you're saying it's over. What would happen if they didn't do it, in your estimation? Just some of the big points.
Okay, well, the number one thing would happen is it would affect interest rates. We understand that, right? So what would that do?
Well, what do you mean? And when you say affect interest rates, in other words, they'd have to put the debt out there, and it would have to get a bid at some point, not 1.7 or whatever it is right now for a 10-year Treasury, not
Exactly.
1.7% for 10 years, which is below the official 2.2% inflation rate. I mean, you're signing up to lose money. So you're saying if they didn't buy the debt and they put it out there, it would have to find its own interest rate.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And what is that going to do? Well, first of all, let's just go back to what you just said. You got to be nuts. Someone's got to be nuts right now to go out and buy a treasury bond because you're not earning anything. It's negative. You have a negative return because of the rate of inflation. It's incredible. Investors are going to get sick of this. This is why the Federal Reserve has to get in there and buy these because no one wants them. No one wants them. And at one point, it will be the free market that decides fair value with regard to everything across the board, including debt. And forget about it, because when that happens, Greg, just let's envision this just real quick here. Interest rates will establish whatever their fair value is. That is going to put enormous pressure on the equities, which are going to sell off big time. But where is all this money going to, or cash, where's it going to look to go? I'm going to tell you, it's going to look to go into commodities. It's going to look to go into hard assets. So the value of the debt or the dollars that we hold is going to be, forget about how low, and the commodities are going to go to the moon. How are people going to survive? How are they going to feed themselves? It's incredible. And this is what is going to happen, without a doubt.
All right, my last question. So what about gold? Why is gold not taking off like a rocket right now? It just seems to get up to, $17.50 and boom, push down. Silver gets up to $34-35 and boom, push down. Why aren't those two metals taking off like a rocket? They are, in fact, money.
They are money. And it's incredible, Greg. Let's think about this. We have unprecedented buying by world governments, the richest people in the world. We have a falling dollar. And at the same time, we have gold and silver falling off a cliff over the past several days. Let me say this. It did take me by surprise a little bit because it shouldn't happen. Obviously, this is outright manipulation, but we should all smile when this happens. Don't look upon this as a bad thing. Never, ever live in the moment. As an investor, as a person that understands what's going on here, you always got to think down the line here. So they can do whatever they want in the short term. I don't personally care. I look upon all of this as, hey, I'm going to just buy myself some more. And that's exactly what I do. And that's what I think your listeners should do. These are incredible opportunities here, because think about it. We understand the Federal Reserve is going to come out with another bond buying purchasing program. They're going to devalue the currency. What's that going to do to gold and silver? They're going up. They can manipulate this as much as they like in the short term. Over the long run, fair market value for all of these assets will establish itself, and that is when we're all going to win. All of us who have been smart enough to put ourselves in the right spots now.
Gregory Mannarino, GregoryMannarino.com. Thank you for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Thanks, Greg.